I'm so ashamed at how long these books have been sitting on this cart for. I bought these books so fucking long ago. And today we're finally hauling them. Hey guys, welcome back to Baddie and a Book. And as you heard, we have a haul. Book Outlet just going to keep taking all my money. And it's a problem. And on top of that problem, these books have been sitting here for so damn long. So damn long. So yeah, here we are. The first set of books that I picked up, I actually saw these at Walmart first. I don't know, something in me told me to check Book Outlet to see if the books were listed, and they were. And they were much cheaper on Book Outlet than they were at Walmart. So I purchased the books from Walmart, and then after I purchased them from Walmart, I was then able to check Book Outlet, purchase them on Book Outlet, and then purchase all the rest of these books as well. I will say that when I did try to return the books back to Walmart, it was like a couple of days that had gone by that I was finally able to go to Walmart and get the books returned. They did give me a little bit of a hard time about it because they were like, you only have 24 hours to return books, apparently. And the reason is because people can read books and then return them after they're done reading them, which I low-key have never thought about that. But if y'all have been doing that, one, you're making it harder for all the rest of us to turn books in. Two, I'm not even mad at y'all. I'm not even mad. Because, like, you could read a book and then not like it and then return it and get something else. Which, I respect it. But you're making it harder for the rest of us, okay? Okay, if you could just chill out a little bit. But apparently, I don't know if that's a Walmart thing everywhere or if that's just a my Walmart thing. But anywho, so the first 3 books that are to blame for the rest of these books being thrown into my cart. The first book is called Good Husbands by Kate Ray. And then we have a duology. I believe it's just these 2. So I believe it's just these 2 in the series. We have Cream by Solomon James and then Payback by Solomon James. I read the synopsis in Walmart and both of these sounded really interesting, and they're relatively short and an author I've never heard of. Now this one, first and foremost, Book Outlet did not package my package very well. And so it got damaged on the way here, which I can't really be mad at because these books were 50% off or more than 50% off the original sale price. But at the same time, I'm like, when you spend, especially if someone is spending like money on multiple books, like, it's a hit or miss. I've heard or I've seen or I've experienced that they actually package the books properly. I'm trying to take the rest of the sticker off. Because the very first package that I got, they had paper and everything in the box. I don't know if you guys remember from the very first book haul that I did from Book Outlet. They had it packaged to where they had paper and stuff in there to protect the books from moving around during shipment and all of that. I've noticed that they don't always consistently do that. And I don't know if that's like someone in the warehouse or someone who works for them is fucking up, or if they just don't have that as a requirement. I don't know if that was like a courtesy thing, the first package, but it is low-key kind of annoying because the books are most of the time advertised to be just bargain books, which means that they're new books, but they're just overstocked from different stores. And so you're expecting to get brand new books, but then when you get them in the mail, they have all of these different damages from being moved around in shipment, and it's not enough for me. I didn't spend enough money on the books. I'm not super pressed about it to the point where I'm going to return them by mail and hope to get a new one, but it is kind of annoying. Anyways, so Good Husband, this one, I just know that this one is about 3 women, and I believe the male character that is somehow connected to these 3 women is involved in some sort of SA cases from like a while back, and they're coming to the surface. I believe that if I remember correctly from when I first read the back of the book in Walmart, I believe it's kind of like one of those stories where like they're already married. There's someone who's married to this man, and so they're like, oh well, these allegations are coming up and I've never seen this side or even had any reason to believe that this could be a possibility with the man that I decided to marry, but women are coming forward and of these allegations. So I think we're following the main character on whether the allegations are true, whether they're not true, and how this situation can impact their relationship, their marriage, and all of that. So I'm very, very excited to read this one. I thought that premise was extremely, extremely interesting. The next set of books that I picked up, now these ones were kind of spontaneous more than anything, more so because Book Outlet had almost the entire series. I believe that there are more in this series. I was only able to see the first 5, but because they had the first 5 listed on the website, I decided to go ahead and pick them up, maybe to do like a video or something later on. Plus they were so cheap. I think each book was like maybe $2 to $3. So because of those components, I went ahead and decided to pick this series up, even though I typically wouldn't have thought to pick this book series up. The other thing too is that it is a series on Netflix as well. So this book purchase was really just to try it out, to see if I like it. It's really raved about all over BookTok and BookTube, along with the series as well. I've heard the series is also really good. But that series is the Bridgerton series. I got it in these like new sized mass market paperback versions. So they are kind of in those sizes, which I'm okay with because one, I think that made them cheaper on the Book Outlet website, but also they're small, so they're easily able to be fit on my bookshelf. And I actually like this size of the mass market paperback over the original size, even though the height of the book, or I should say the length of the book, is like not any different from a regular mass market paperback. The fact that the width is like just a little bit bigger than a regular mass market paperback, I don't know why, but it makes such a huge difference, and it makes me actually okay with purchasing these size books. But yeah, so I picked up all 4 or all 5. These are the first 5. If I'm not gonna lie to you, if they had like one in this order missing, where like, I don't know, the second book was missing or the third book was missing, or they didn't have them all in this size or paperback or hardback, I'm very reluctant to buy a series if one is like hardback versus the rest being like paperback. I like them to all consecutively match and everything, especially when buying from Book Outlet. I know it's kind of weird, like you can't, you know, pick and choose, but because it worked out the way that it did, I went ahead and picked up all 5 of them. And maybe I'll do like a video or something with reading the books and then watching the show. It'll probably be a while because of the hype surrounding it, but I don't know, we'll see. Historical romance is not really truly my thing, like it's not something that I feel drawn to, but I don't know, maybe the series will change my mind on that. The next book that I picked up is called How Lulu Lost Her Mind by Rachel Gibson. Now I know this one follows a mother and daughter relationship. The mother seems to be an elderly woman who is being like held in a care facility, so she's living in like one of those assisted living facilities, and she ends up getting kicked out. I guess the mother and daughter, they also have like this very weird, odd, not close relationship vibe that they have going on with each other, and so they end up moving to Louisiana. That's really all that I know about this one, that it takes place in Louisiana, and it's about a relationship between a mother and her daughter. The next book that I picked up is called Give Me Everything You Got by Iva Marie Palmer. This one is a YA romance novel. I tend to no longer read the synopsis of YA romance novels as much. It's just little things on the covers that now make me buy books, which is so corny, but the book says at the top, she's never scored, but she's got goals. Okay. But it is blurred by Katie Cotugno, which I do have a few books by her. Haven't actually read any of this particular author or Katie Cotugno's books, but I think it's pretty cool when I see a familiar author blurb another book, so that is more than enough reason to pick it up, especially when it's on Book Outlet for under $5. So the next book that I picked up is called The Lost Dreamer by Liz Huerta. Now this one is a YA fantasy novel. It follows the main character by the name of Indir, and I know that the only thing I really know about this book is that it is it's a book inspired by ancient Mesoamerica. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. The cover of this one is absolutely beautiful, and I've actually been seeing this book kind of a little bit everywhere. Not necessarily talked about that much on BookTok and BookTube, but something that I have seen, like the cover cover stands out. I remember at least seeing it a couple of times. So because the cover stood out, and this one was really cheap. I think it was only like $2 or $3. I went ahead and threw this one in my cart, no questions asked. The next book that I picked up, a very, very popular fantasy novel, a black fantasy novel. It's blurbed by Danielle Clayton. It's blurbed by L.L. McKinney. It's blurbed by Ashley Poston. And it actually has already had a second book out, which that second book was listed on Book of the Month's, one of Book of the Month's recent picks. I believe it was either November or October. I want to say it was November, but I can't remember. But it is Legend Board by Tracy Dion. Now this book, I've been seeing this book everywhere. I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. This one is a thickie though. She is thick. And because it is a YA, I'm hoping that this one will be an easy read for me. I will say that just based on it's been a while since I've tried reading a fantasy novel, and I think the one thing that I may struggle the most with, because the last time I read fantasy or even read in general before recently getting back into reading was when I was in high school. So I think that the hardest thing for me is going to be like the world building portion of reading fantasy. So I'm hoping that with this being a YA novel, that it will be a lot easier for me to get into that portion of fantasy novels. The next series that I picked up, this one is another fantasy novel. It has a lot of magic involved in it, and honestly the only reason why I picked this book up was because I did see this book I saw the third book in a Barnes & Noble, and I remember looking at it and being like, that looks kind of interesting, but I ended up putting it back. I saw it on Book Outlet, and then I was like, you know what, they have all 3 books. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say, fuck it, I'm gonna pick them up. My thing is that with Book Outlet, because the books are so cheap, if all the books are listed in a series, they're all in either consistently in paperback or in hardback. Like one of the books in the series cannot be listed as like a hardback. They all have to be paperback or they all have to be hardback. And if they're under $5, those are the 3 components that will easily make me just throw a series in my cart, even if it's a genre that I'm not 100% comfortable with, even if it's an author that I've never heard of, and even if I feel like it's a possibility I may not be interested in the book once I get into them. I will still throw them in my cart because they are so cheap, and you never know. You never fucking know. And I want to have as many books and variety of books as possible in my library. So even if I don't like these, for example, if I end up not liking the series, I'll just go ahead and give them to somebody else who I think might. So this is the Bloodleaf series. It's got Bloodleaf, Grenthorn, and Ebonwild. All 3 of these books were listed on the website. So this is the first book. This is the second book. And this is the third book. I don't know anything about these series. I saw decent reviews online. That was a truck. I saw decent reviews of these online, and then I also on Amazon had really good reviews of the books. The next book that I picked up is actually a multi-author book. So there's 4 authors that have collaborated to create this one book. This book is a combination of different stories in the book. I believe there might be a story per author. So this one is called Rosie Curl We, and this one is by Rochelle Allers, Felicia Mason, Donna Hill, and Frances Ray. We have 1 story per author, and it takes place in a hair salon, which I thought was really cute. I did end up seeing this in Walmart at some point, and then when I saw it on Book Outlet for like $1 or $2, I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and pick it up. Why not? The next book that I picked up is called Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. This one is giving a modern day Cinderella retelling, which is the only reason why I picked this one up. And then on the front it says beauty isn't always pretty. And then on the back it says don't just fracture the fairy tale, shatter it. Okay, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. The next few books that I picked up are, I believe, romances. One of these, I have another book by this author, and then the other one, I just decided to go ahead and pick it up because I heard Lily Reeds talk about this book. This one is called For All Time by Shanna Miles, or Shauna Miles? Shanna, I want to say it's Shanna. Shanna. For All Time by Shanna Miles, and then Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by Joya Goffney. Now, this book was mentioned by, I think actually both of these books, I want to say, yeah, both of these books were mentioned by Lily Reads. This one was the one I specifically remember, and then this one I actually have another book by this author. It's called Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, and so I thought I would go ahead and pick up a second book by hers, and I've heard that this one is like a romancy type of novel, both of those being YA. And then the last hardback book in this haul is Angel of Greenwood by Randy Pink, and this one was a cover buy for me. Absolutely 100% a cover buy. Like, look at that, is so pretty. Now this book follows a woman by the name of Ella. She seems to be like a mid-20s young woman, and she ends up getting, she's at first she's struggling, trying to make rent and things of that nature, working at a bottega shop, and she ends up getting an offer to be a nanny for a woman by the name of Lonnie and her husband. And they're, I believe, it doesn't say how old the child is, but we have a young baby that she is looking after. And then Ella gets nosy because her and Lonnie are the same age. They're both 26 years old, and they're in two completely different places in life. Lonnie is super rich with a great husband and a baby, and Ella is working as a nanny to try to make money and make ends meet. With that being said, she ends up sifting through all of Lonnie's stuff, which, girl, you being nosy. You being real nosy. You better get that check and just go home. But she's like, no, I'm gonna find out what's going on and what's really behind all of it, because this isn't quite as, this can't be what it seems. Like, it cannot be really like this. So she sifts through all of her stuff, and I guess over time we actually end up finding out some mysterious things about Lonnie. So the next book that I picked up is called Mitzi Bites by Carrie Clare. Now this one is very interesting because this one follows like a catfishing type of situation. It follows a woman by the name of Sarah Lundy. She has this online persona by the name of Mitzi Bates, and I guess it kind of just remained a secret for a very, very long time. And then 15 years later, Sarah is remarried, happily remarried, until someone starts sending her threatening emails saying that her identity has been exposed, and whoever this Jane Q person is that is emailing her saying these things knows who she is. Next book that I got is called The Tapestry by Kian Nguyen. I don't know what this book is about, but the cover was absolutely beautiful, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up, and I think that book was only like $1 or $2. The next book that I picked up is called A Holly Jolly Diwali by Sonia Lawley. Why did that sound like that? Anyways, it's a Christmas novel, so this one actually could technically go with my Christmas books that I have, but essentially it's like giving it Christmas but make it Indian. So I thought that would be a very interesting twist, and I thought that the book seemed really interesting, so I did go ahead and pick that one up. Next one that I picked up is another book by Miss Sonia Lawley, and I just wanted to pick up a second book to go along with that one so that I had two to go off of, a holiday romance and then a regular, and this one is called Grown Up Pose. And I'm not 100% sure what this one is about. I just do know that it takes place in a tight-knit Indian community, and there seems to be like a pressure to get married, and maybe the main character is kind of like, no, that's not really for me. I kind of want to do my own thing. So I thought that would be very interesting as well. The next and the first Wattpad book that I picked up, I've actually am new to the whole thing around Wattpad. I completely was absent during that era, the Wattpad era. I've heard so many people talk about it, and Book Outlet actually has a lot of books that are from the Wattpad book era, which I thought was very interesting. So I decided to go ahead and pick one up and see how it went. A lot of these books have like meh reviews, but I think the reason why people love them so much is because Wattpad was an era. So like, it's a very nostalgic thing, and it's something that I've been very curious about. So the first book that I picked up is called Historically Inaccurate by Shay Bravo. I don't know anything about this book, but the cover is absolutely stunning. Like, she's a baddie, period. And I'm really excited to start to pick up Wattpad books and look more into the Wattpad world, because again, I completely skipped that generation. I didn't even know Wattpad was a thing. The next book that I picked up, and this is actually a thriller, and it's called Every Vow You Break by Peter Swanson. I've never heard of this author before. I think this has to do with a marriage where there's some lies that creep up. So I'm really excited to pick that one up. The next book that I picked up, which I was so surprised because I did not know that this was a book at first. I've seen the movie, but I had no idea that it was a book. And this one is called Bird Box by Josh Malerman. The movie came out within like the last 5 years. And so I did watch it and I loved the movie. The movie was really good. So I thought I would go ahead and pick up the book. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, damn, I had no idea that there were so many movie adaptations that were originally books. And then the next book that I picked up is called Last Girl Lied To by L.E. Flynn. The one thing about this one is giving thriller, maybe mystery vibes more than thriller, but this one follows a girl by the name of Fiona, and I guess her best friend one night walked into the ocean. And so we're kind of following her after that happens, because there's a part of her that doesn't remember what happened that night or remember her friend walking into the ocean. So I thought that would be very interesting and something I've never heard of. The next book that I picked up is called The Last Post by Renee Carlino. Now, Renee Carlino had a few books listed on Book Outlet, but this one I think was the cheapest. I think the other ones were a little bit more expensive because Renee Carlino is actually very popular on BookTube. I've seen so many people talk about her books, and they have mixed reviews. Like, everyone reads her books, but like everyone has mixed reviews. Some people love them, some people hate them. So I thought I would go ahead and start with this one. If I end up liking this book, then I'll go ahead and go back in and pick up more. The next book that I picked up, this one was merely a fucking cover by, is Everybody Looking by Candace Elo. And this one follows a girl in her freshman year at a historically black college. And so it's kind of like a coming of age story. It's her first time being away from family. This one also is a thickie. And the other thing too is this book is in script. So it's got, it's a thick book, but each page is written in poetry form. So I thought that would be a very interesting read, and the cover is super pretty. The next book that I pick up is a woman's fiction, a woman's contemporary coming of age teenage fiction. Can you be a woman and coming of age? Like, that didn't even make any sense. But it's a coming of age teenage female teenage girl fiction story, and it's called Girls Like Us by Randy Pink. I really love the cover of this one and the coming of age. I can never get enough coming of age stories. I think that they're so very interesting. I know that a lot of people in the book community kind of are getting away from YA books now, but not I. Next book is called Almost Missed You by Jessica Strasser. It follows a woman by the name of Violet and Finn. Now, it is from Violet's perspective. They're married though, and they have a son together. And this one follows her, I guess, finding out that she doesn't really know her husband as well as she thinks she does. Now, this premise and this style of book, or this plot twist, this type of plot in a book, is very common, I'm finding, in a lot of books. So I was very intrigued about it. It's something that is done a lot, and I'm curious to see with the many books that I have that have this trope. I'm very interested to see how different authors articulate and write out stories around that trope. The next book that I picked up, which was another cover by, but I'm really excited to hear about this one because I think this is about two sisters that kind of grow up completely different. Okay, so this one is about two sisters discovering magical identities. So this one is a YA fantasy novel surrounding two sisters, and this one is called A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. Again, this cover is so damn pretty. Like, look at that. I love that. And it's blurbed by Danielle Clayton, which she is the queen, so anything blurbed by her, I know that I'm in good hands on. The next book that I picked up, which was another cover by, this one is called What I Carry by Jennifer Longo. I'm not 100% sure about this book in terms of what it is about. I just know that the main character, or like the main premise of the story, surrounds foster care in some way, shape, or form. But I thought that this book cover was just absolutely beautiful. The last two books, or the last two sets of books that I picked up, are the last two series that I ended up picking up, and they are romance series. So the first one is Melissa de la Cruz, and this one is the this one is not the Love and War trilogy. This one is the Alex and Eliza trilogy. And so it comes with all 3 books. I actually originally saw this series in Books A Million, but they didn't have consistently all of the books and all of the books in the same type of book. So they didn't have all paperbacks or all hardbacks. They had like one was a hardback and then the other 2 were softbacks. So I was happy to be able to find them all in paperback on the Book Outlet website. The other thing too was they were much cheaper. As cheap as Books A Million is in their bargain section, Book Outlet a lot of times can be a lot cheaper. So I thought I would go ahead and pick these up. I love the covers of these. I love how simple they are. I believe this might be a royal family. Yeah, like a royal family type of romance. I could be wrong, and I haven't seen too many people talk about these, but the Amazon reviews were really, really good on these. And then the last book in the series, or the last series that I picked up in the last set of books that I picked up, I only ended up picking up the first 2 books because this was another set of books where they had more in the series listed on the Book Outlet website, but some of them were hardback, and I just didn't want to mix them up, and I won't buy the first 2 books as paperback and then buy the 4th or 5th book without buying the 3rd. Like, I like to buy them all in order. I know it's so fucking weird, but I picked up the Come Back to Me series by Mila Gray. I don't think that is the official name of the series, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And this one is Come Back to Me and Stay With Me. These are the first 2 books in the series. I believe actually I believe this is the first one. And then this is the second one. So I'm really excited to pick these ones up. I've heard really, really good things about these, and I would have purchased them before now, but I'm not a huge fan of the covers. Like, they're low-key kind of cringe. I hope that they change them eventually, and then maybe when I go to buy the rest of the books in the series, maybe I'll go ahead and pick up the rest of them and then just switch them over to the new covers, hoping that they'll change the covers. But if not, these will do for now. But yeah, those are the last 2 books that I picked up. And those are all the books that I picked up this go around from Book Outlet. Book Outlet just keeps taking all my money, and it's a problem. But I guess it's not such a horrible habit to have. But if you liked this video, please like and comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.